Welcome back to another episode of Relationship Questions and Answers. You send us your relationship questions via social media and we answer them with a YouTube video. And before we start this video, we'd like to welcome back our off-screen co-host, Wish So Free, who's going to be answering the questions with us today. Also want to welcome back those of you already part of the community. And if you are new around, on this channel, we give relationship advice. If this is something that you're into, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, because we've got a lot to talk about.
Today's question comes from a young lady who's been in a committed relationship for the past 3 years. She describes their relationship as wholesome. It's a perfect relationship. He's always been good to her until he drinks alcohol, and then he becomes a totally different person. She's wanting to know how she should approach the relationship. Should she stay or should she go? What should she do?
What do you mean by a different person? What exactly does he do?
Unfortunately, this is one of those relationships where when he drinks alcohol, he becomes abusive in the worst ways. He verbally abuses her. He plays with her emotionally. And worst of all, he physically causes her harm. Okay, that's an easy fix. I understand that situations like that, just like she said, he's been treating her right as long as he doesn't drink. The drinking is the problem. That's understandable. For whatever reason, whatever he has in mind, every time he grabs a bottle and then he goes crazy with it, the problem is that he needs to stop. I'm totally against abuse. Mental, physical, sexual, financial, anytime there's abuse for me, you have to bounce. And I know sometimes people are troubled. I know sometimes there are a lot of things that are probably puzzled from past relationships or things that have happened in their childhood. But by you being in that situation right now, to the point where he's abusing you physically, a lot of things could happen. Whenever we're talking about physical abuse, yes, mental, you could go to a therapist. There are ways that you could actually go with the motion. But physical can also mean that one day you might not wake up. My first thing is, anybody who truly loves you and understand they have a problem would be working on that problem as soon as possible because of the fear of losing you. So if it's not willing to do that, you're gonna have to think about yourself first. That's basically what it is. You have to think about yourself first because no one knows what's gonna happen the next time he grabs a bottle. I definitely agree. And this is unfortunate, to be in love with someone who has a problem like this, and they're also causing you physical, emotional, and mental anguish. But it is a delicate situation. You have to protect yourself first. I know that the young lady who asked the question is considering her own safety. That's why she's asked the question, to get some guidance. But she also may be struggling with how he'll respond to her leaving. Because they've been together for 3 years, and she's mentioned that they are in love. So there is that connection. And unfortunately, alcoholism is a disease. It causes him troubles as well. And I'm not saying that to downplay her feelings or anything, but the disorder affects him as well. If her goal is to help him, there are certain steps that she can take to approach the situation to get him the help that he needs. And I can give you a few steps now. The first thing would be to learn about alcoholism. You know that he has the problem. You know that he likes to drink, and when he drinks, he turns into a totally different person. So you have Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and you can never really know what to expect when he drinks. So the first thing you should do is learn about alcohol use, the disorder. It's important to know that alcoholism is more than just drinking too much from time to time. Sometimes they might use alcoholism as a coping mechanism for something. So you have to get an understanding for the disorder to know what your next step should be to help them. Then, before you confront them, you need to practice what you're going to say. You have to practice what you're going to say. And you have to approach it in a situation where you're not accusing them of anything. You're letting them know that you see them. And you understand that something is going on. You want to know what their feelings are, what causes them to want to drink. If you can, try to get through to them and understand what in their past may be causing this, because
alcoholism is more mental than just grabbing a bottle.
Right.
They are going through it psychologically speaking. There are reasons why. But this is the thing. I totally agree with all the steps and everything that you're saying. My whole point is we could do all that. If he's not willing to change, it's gonna be a waste of time. Every time he grabs a bottle, she might not be able to ask the next question. And that's me being honest with everybody watching, and with her watching this video as well. You don't want to play with things like that. I understand with the help. If you could help far away, that's fine. You don't have to be in a relationship with them. You could become a good friend. But when it comes to being in a relationship, being in the same house with them pushing their frustrations on you could be a dead end. You know what I mean? So my whole thing is, if you want to help him out, I totally understand that. Whatever situation that's been putting him into the phase of getting a bottle, trying to use that as a coping mechanism, you know what I mean? Totally understandable. The first step is for her to leave. You know what I mean? If she's gonna be a friend, you know what I mean? If she's gonna provide certain things to him, not as close as she is right now, that is definitely the best step to do right now. The best thing to do right now. You
and I agree. And based on what you just said, the next step that I was gonna say was she would need to pick the right place and time. First of all, if you're gonna have this conversation with him, you need to have it in a safe space. And then you also need to make sure that he's sober when you have it.
Yeah, very important.
And you also need to stand your ground. Like, if you decide that you want to help him and you go through with this process, you can't allow him to put a pause on you when he's sober and he's like, oh, baby, but I'm okay now. We can fix this. I can change.
I think that's one of the biggest problems she's got right now. The fact that he could go back into being the good boyfriend she knows him to be, and for him to go back into the bottle and understand that he's just going through the motion of something, which is understandable, which also is not good for her in every sense.
It's a very touchy situation because, again, she's in love with the person that he was from the beginning.
Yeah.
She's in love with the person that he is on his good days.
Yes. Yeah.
It's really hard to distinguish.
Yeah, both people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard because you always hold on to hope.
Yes.
That they'll change and they'll give up the bottle. But that's not going to happen if he doesn't get the help that he needs.
Yeah.
So her best bet, leave the relationship.
You think she should give him ultimatum, telling him, hey, I'm going to give you 5, I'm going to give you 2, I'm going to give you 3 years to get your life together. I'm still going to be here waiting for you. I'm going to need you to get help. If you have to tackle the problems, the things that are pushing you to become that monster once you grab the bottle, we need to fix that person because I love you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. In order for me to do that, I need to be in a safe zone myself. Because right now it's only me, but what if when we have kids, you have the same type of behavior? It's not going to be beneficial for the family. You know what I mean? So I don't know, because I'm always optimistic when it comes to relationships like that, especially there's a good side of the relationship that still exists. My whole thing is I'm all about your safety. I understand that you love this guy and I understand that he loves you too. But if he really loves you, it's going to have to go with the process. Find ways to get common ground and to fix this situation without anybody getting hurt.
And I agree with you to a certain extent. You need to offer your support and you need to offer to be there for him in the capacities that he needs. That's detoxing, going through rehab, getting the counseling that he needs, because you don't know where he is mentally.
Okay.
Ultimatums can cause him to go deeper in his disorder.
You think so?
I think so. Like, when you're struggling with addiction like that, you have this new worry that's on your mental and on your soul. So the easiest thing for you to do is to drown those sorrows in the bottle as well. So now you went from whatever it is in your past or your present that's causing you to want to drink. Now you have to worry about the stress of...
You think it's going to be more pressure?
More pressure, most definitely. Yeah. I have to make this change within this time frame or I'm going to lose her forever. Then you have some people who like to manipulate the system and be like, okay, well, I'll just stop drinking for this amount of time and then I'll get her back and then I can go on doing whatever I was doing. So you just have to be really careful when you approach the situation. If he's willing to make those next steps and make that promise not only to you but to himself to actually want to change, offer your support. And if you need to, set up an intervention.
Yeah.
Bring his family and friends in to help you, because it can be really hard, because you might see the bad part of him, the abuse, but you have to think about the other people who could see it too, who might not be saying anything to you. Because if he goes out with his boys and he starts drinking and he turns into a different person at the bar, they see it.
Start fighting people and all that.
They see it and they can help you. And situations like that, when you have an intervention, it allows everyone to get their feelings out, to get their feelings heard. And again, in this situation, he needs to be sober at the time so that his mind is open and he's willing to listen.
I think so. But first thing first, you need to get out of there. Unfortunately, we have to make sure that you are safe, despite how much you love this guy, despite how much he loves you. But when it comes to your safety, we don't know until the process gets started, or until it's somewhere better mentally where it could actually see a bottle and not touch it, or not go crazy with the process with alcohol, that it could actually love you properly. But until then, you have to get yourself out of there. Give him the steps, trying to see if he could change, but don't also put your life on a hold, you know what I mean, just because you're trying to see it through. Being too optimistic in situations like that could actually cause you years of your life that you probably will never be able to get back. So the best answer is to get yourself out of there while you're still providing help with him. And as Wish So Free just mentioned, follow the steps, introduce that process to him in a way where he's not feeling judged. If you need actual people to help you within the process as well, ask for help, ask them helping you, help him understand how difficult it is for you to go through all of this within the relationship. On that note, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you do have relationship questions, feel free to send us your relationship questions via social media, Instagram or Facebook, and we will make a YouTube video with the answers. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Peace.
Peace.